despite being connected by land, Asia and Europe are considered separate continents. The European-Asian border is unique among continental boundaries because there is no significant physical distinction between the two continents other than rivers and mountains to the east and north of the Black Sea. So, where do we draw the line separating the two continents? The Earth's landmass was first divided into individual continents by ancient Greek scholars. Anaximander of Miletus created the first map of the world in the 6th century BC, grouping all known territories at that time, Europe, Asia, and Africa, known as Libya, around the Mediterranean Sea, territories that were surrounded by the ocean. According to Anaximander, Europe was separated from Asia by the Black Sea and the Rioni River, known as Phasis River at that time. As geographic knowledge of the Greeks increased, the boundary between continents was changed. A century later, the Greek philosopher and world traveler Herodotus pointed out that some geographers put the border between Europe and Asia along the Rioni River, while others were of the opinion that the border between Europe and Asia ran along the Don River. In the 1st century AD, the Greek geographer Strabo defined Europe's eastern frontier at the Don River. A century later, the most authoritative ancient geographer and astronomer of the 2nd century AD, Claudius Ptolemy, the author of the scientific work Geographia, also drew the border between Europe and Asia along the Don River. So, from the Middle Ages to the 18th century, all cartographers followed Ptolemy, placing the border between Europe and Asia along the Don River. As a result, for a long period of time, the traditional division between the two continents was along the Dardanelles and the Bosporus Straits. The Black Sea, the Sea of Azov through the Kerch Strait, and the Don River. However, all of the maps produced in that period of time were very unclear in how to continue the boundary beyond the Don Bend at Kalachina-Donu. Starting from the 18th century, the interest of Europeans in defining more precise border between Europe and Asia increased, particularly because of the expansion of the Russian Empire into Asia. In 1721, the London cartographer Hermann Mall created a map, proposing that the traditional border following the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov should continue with portions of the significant rivers, the Don, Volga, Samara, Tobol, Irtysh, and the Ob. In 1730, Philip Johann von Strahlenberg was the first to propose the Ural Mountains as the border between Europe and Asia, followed by the Samara, Volga, and Don rivers, and continuing with the traditional border through the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea. Since that time, it has been common practice in the scientific world to separate Europe from Asia along the Ural Mountains. But the opinions of the geographers continue to differ on the boundary that connected the Black Sea to the Ural Mountains. In 1773, the German naturalist Peter Simon Pallas identified the Kumamanik Depression as a valley that once connected the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea, and therefore proposed it as a border between continents. A century later, several geographers suggested that the Caucasus crests would represent the best possible boundary. So, in the 19th century, there were three main conventions regarding the boundary between Europe and Asia. The first followed the classic route through the Sea of Azov, then the Don River, Volga, and the Ural Mountains. The second followed the line of the Kumamanik Depression, the Caspian Sea, the Ural River, and the Ural Mountains. Finally, the third proposed the border to follow the crests of the Caucasus Mountains, the Caspian Sea, the Ural River, and the Ural Mountains. In 1958, the Geographical Society of the Soviet Union recommended to draw the border between Europe and Asia along the eastern foot of the Urals, and then the Mughazar Hills, then along the Amur River, along the northern coast of the Caspian Sea, along the Kumamanik Depression, and then along the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea, thus placing the Caucasus entirely in Asia, and the Urals entirely in Europe. We can call it the fourth version of the continental boundary. However, even Russian geographers criticized this recommendation, preferring the boundary along the Caucasus crests. Nowadays, the most popular conventions are the Kumamanik border and the Grand Caucasus border. To reach the Ural Mountains, both follow the traditional route through the Dardanelles and the Bosporus Straits until the Black Sea. One of them continues through the Sea of Azov, then along the Kuma-Menik Depression to the Caspian Sea, while the other follows the Caucasus crest to the Caspian Sea. But up to now, the worldwide geographic community has never reached a complete consensus on continental boundary, especially concerning the Caucasus region. If we overlay the political map on this area, drawing the border along the Kuma-Menik Depression, it means that there would be 3 transcontinental countries: Turkey, Russia, and Kazakhstan. If we draw the border along the Great Caucasus Range, then both Georgia and Azerbaijan become transcontinental countries, because both of them have small territories on the European side of this border. In this case, what's the deal with Armenia? The answer is easy to guess. We can draw a new border. Yes, because some geographers have suggested the Aras River as a possible boundary between Europe and Asia. Aras River flows on the border between 3 countries: Turkey and Armenia, Iran and Armenia, and Iran and Azerbaijan. So, it could be a good option. Georgia and Armenia would be completely European countries, while Azerbaijan would be a transcontinental country. Anyway, even in the absence of consensus among geographers regarding the continental border through the Caucasus, all 3 countries, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan, are members of the Council of Europe. So, politically speaking, they are considered European countries. In conclusion, the border between Europe and Asia is a bit of a weird one, because it exists only on paper. Probably that's why Europe's eastern boundary has been the subject of much debate, with many different opinions on where it should be drawn. Some say Europe ends where Asia begins, while others argue that the two are one and the same. So, basically, talking about the border between Europe and Asia is just a way of saying, we don't really know where to draw the line.